What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, three bambinos come together to talk about nerd shit. This week, we're going to talk about 28 years later. Why are we pausing? This is the intro. What's happening?
I know, I'm sorry. Your mic is the wrong mic. You're talking through something else.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
I'm just trying to help you.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
This is why sound checks work, Louise.
Okay, drunk. Okay, sound check here.
Fucking wino, alcoholic over here. Why don't you slow down,
me
Ed?
Margot.
All right, how's that? How's that sounding? Sounding good?
So much better. So much better.
Oh my God, here we go. Okay, so my name is Luis Gonzalez, the one who had the bad mic. With me is who?
Miguel Sanchez.
And Ed Bull.
That's right. And I don't know if I said it earlier, but we're going to talk about 28 years later, not 28 weeks, not 28 days, not even 28 months. A movie that didn't even come out. We're talking about 28 years later at the end of the podcast. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We got some big news. We're going to talk about what we're into. If you want to go to those things that we're going to talk about, jump down to the description. You can just jump right to it, and you can skip everything else. But if you want to stay in. And we're going to start off with the big topic. Number one, we have a James Bond director, okay? Denis Villeneuve. Number two, even a bigger news topic. Ed, how come you didn't talk about this in our personal group chat here?
Ed.
Because nobody in our personal group chat brought it up until later.
Hold on. Our group chat is the point. Like, we are supposed to be spreading news to each other.
Hang on.
And I get very excited about sharing news to you. And then Miguel's like, I already know about that. And then I'm like, well, if you knew about it, you should have shared. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to come at you, Miguel.
No, I mean, everybody knows that's your generic Miguel
No, hold on. I have the microphone. So what I'm trying to say is that we have a group chat. We're supposed to share news with each other. Okay. It's like, oh my God. Oh, Denis Villeneuve. I didn't know that. So thank you so much, Ed. And then here I am. I'm thinking I'm spreading some word. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to spread the word.
Yeah.
And Miguel's like, he's already talking to a bunch of people about it. And we have a group chat that is made for us to talk about movies. And I felt so betrayed about this. Like, what's the point of even having it if we're not even going to share or talk?
Okay, I have the microphone.
Okay, go ahead.
To be fair, the subject came up on two separate group chats, if you will, not even group chats. First off, Josh, our friend Josh, he was the first one to send that to us. I kind of shrugged it off.
Who's
as
us?
In me and Miguel.
Okay, immediately sent to Nerd Chat. Thank you. Goodbye. Sent to Nerd Chat.
I apologize.
Continue.
Well, first off, I was on my way out to dinner with my family, and I just kind of shrugged it off as hearsay rumor. I know his name was being tossed around.
It's Deadline. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, I know. Everybody thinks Deadline is the line.
Ed,
but if Empire Magazine had posted that, you would have been like,
exactly.
First off, no. Time out. Ed, Deadline is actual news, Ed. Like, my wife is an actor. Okay, if something pops up on Deadline, like the actors beg for things to be on Deadline. Whatever Deadline is, what's it called? What's the news, like NPR
Too bright.
or the other news site?
PBS.
Yeah, we'll all end up on news, aren't we?
No,
Louise?
not CNN.
What's
AP
going on in
News?
LA right now?
Hang on, Ed. Whoa, slow down.
Wait, I didn't hear what you just said. Excuse me, sir.
Too many directions.
What I'm trying to say is Deadline is like the NPR. What is said there is like nobody, like that is the word all. It's never rumors happening in Deadline.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Now continue.
On my way to dinner.
Trial.
On my way to dinner. Still on trial. And then separately, our good friend Sean, he texted me just between me and him because he's I wouldn't say a movie nerd, but he is a big fan of Dune. So Denis Villeneuve directing James Bond, something to talk about with me, He generally never texts me about movies, to be fair, unless it was about Dune. So because it was Sean, Miguel and Josh like to do bits, so Sean, I was able to just quickly hone in and give straight answers to, and I thought I gave a rather eloquent answer to his question. And then I forwarded that same answer to Miguel and Josh. And that's about as far as we got in the whole thing. And then they, other things came up.
So hang on, Ed. So I have the mic. So to Luis's gripe, okay.
First off, last thing. Let me just pinpoint that. last thing is just like, I knew we would ultimately end up talking about it tonight because it's hot news. It's
but
hot.
so
fresh out the oven.
Point.
And I knew we were going to talk about it, so I wanted to save that conversation for right now. And look at us. We're on fire.
We've lost half our viewers. They're like, when are they going to talk about actual news? They're just bickering like old wives here.
No, but sometimes
this is like this Luis guy is just talking all over you. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to quickly stand up for Luis, is that Josh on his own texted us, and in the middle of this thought, Ed goes, I have feelings. That was at 6:10. 30 minutes later, Josh responded,
which I thought was vague.
Josh was like, yeah, what are your feelings? And 30 minutes had passed by. We have a quick little bit, and then Ed goes, oh, here's what I was saying on this other thread. And he just copied and pasted it. And it's like, well, if you're going to go through the trouble of copying and pasting, you could have copied and pasted the news into the chat. Okay? And to Luis's point, God love him, and I'm so sorry. I responded through Siri in the car. Like, I just was like,
you did. You were committed.
I'm not even on my phone.
I was at dinner, and then I was also getting criticized for looking at my phone so much.
So let me ask you this. who do you want to be criticized by? Okay, Ed, your family,
my immediate,
okay, or family, okay? Because here we are, and we exist too. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we weren't at the dinner table.
I'm going to say the latter. Are we here right now talking about it?
Anyway.
Now,
yeah.
I just thought that, like, the thing is this is why I got wild up too, is because we've been talking about James Bond, like, rumors and the future. Like, this is probably one of the biggest, like, top 5 biggest news that we could talk about, right?
And I'm sorry, we are waiting. Just one more thing. Sorry, Ed, when you were having all this back and forth, did you even think about Luis in this moment? Were you like,
I did.
Was any part of you myself, like, God, I cannot wait. I want to say this to Luis's lips.
Yeah,
right now.
To his lips. That's what I want to talk to.
Lip. I want to tell him, Denis.
I was just like, I told myself peacefully, Luis, buddy, I can't wait to talk about this tonight on our podcast.
We don't want peace, okay?
No,
we want
I didn't want to have a whole other fucking
magma.
Conversation prior to the conversation.
I just want you to know that I have had many arguments with my wife where she's like, put down the phone. And I said, pry it from my dead cold hands, okay?
Jesus Christ.
And here I am getting accused of being a drunk. You motherfuckers. I
guess
swear to God.
Karma's a bitch, huh? I'm the one in the wrong here.
That's right.
Oh my God. We literally cannot talk about this anymore. That was the moment. That was so good. Oh,
is my beer okay?
I will just say this. I'm excited. I think it sounds fun. Ed was a little cold on the idea about Denny doing a Bond, but they were going to get a Nolan. They were going to get a Villeneuve. They were going to get a James Gunn to do it, okay? And I'm just fucking around.
Imagine James Cameron. Okay.
They were... Well, hang on a second. He would put out a good movie, okay? We're not going to talk shit, okay? Now, I know that's not a Bond director, but I'm just saying James Cameron knows how to make a movie.
Like late Pierce Brosnan? Like, the studios were losing their minds. They're like, we don't know what to do. And then
he was like, well, I can interrupt Avatar for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would be a cinch. He would get it done so quickly.
Because he's good like that. You know what I mean?
He's good like that. Like, oh, I've got to work with just like human beings again? Yes, please. Like practical effects, fuck it, like easy peasy. But yeah, so like here's the thing, it's nothing against Denny. I know he's got Dune Messiah coming up, so that also leads to the question, like, okay, so when does this come into work?
I saw a tweet earlier. I don't mean to interrupt you, just to say that they had Denis Villeneuve like next.
Actually,
this is on top of what you're saying. I'm trying to add to what you're saying.
I have the mic.
I'm just trying to add to what you're saying.
I have the mic.
You said I don't know what's coming up.
I have the mic.
It was the next 5
Miguel,
movies.
I have the mic. Right. Miguel, I have the mic.
Right. I hate
Miguel always intends. Miguel always intends.
I don't even want
on interrupting. Okay? I don't want to interrupt. You always want to interrupt. Shut the fuck up. Now carry on with what you were saying.
Now I don't have it pulled up anymore. I don't have it pulled up. They said Denis Villeneuve has like 5 or 6 more movies on the thing, and Bond is like the 3rd one. And it's like he's so busy, and then they added one in between it all. That's all I was going to say.
All right. Jeff Bezos knows what he's doing.
Oh my God. He's getting married
hold on.
this week. He's getting married this week. Do you guys think he's Bezos?
Oh.
He's marrying a Sanchez, by the
News,
way.
Luis. News. Hello.
They think Amy Pascal and David Hyman who are producing this. So, outside
you
of
think
Bezos.
on that yacht, he's like, oh, I can't wait till they pick Bond,
Yeah, scrolling, just scrolling.
Everyone's his new wife is like, get off your phone, Jeff. I'm sorry, he's like, I'm texting the nerd chat right now. Okay.
You know what? I'm also
trying to find
about?
a new Bond.
Okay, well, no. Before I get into another upset rant, Miguel, what do you think about Denis Villeneuve directing? Wait, are you trying to say something? I'm sorry. Give you the mic. Hand the mic back.
No. Take it back. I have no thoughts on this whatsoever.
The mic was in your hand, and then you were like, never mind. Come on, Ed.
All right. All I was going to say, like I was saying, I have no issues specifically with Denny, but I do think that the problem has become, especially of recent James Bond movies, since the Craig era, especially, is that the focus has gone towards big directors, when I don't think Bond needs all of that. I think you need a competent director, a director who knows the tone, the style of James Bond, and knows how to deliver action and fun. Not to take themselves too seriously. Again, like the latter era of Daniel Craig. And I think, every big director, we were talking about Christopher Nolan, we were talking about Denis Villeneuve. Danny Boyle was in the running for the very last James Bond, but then he clashed with Barbara Broccoli and what's his name? And
terrible name.
I mean, Barbara Broccoli is easy to remember, right? But just like, I think those styles start to clash when James Bond is just supposed to be lighthearted, fun, saucy, action-filled, and just like a singular adventure. Not everything has to be this fucking complex emotional journey of like, oh, where did James Bond come from? And where did he find his emotions? And how does he deal with loss and whatever? Fuck that. Let's just go back to the good old spy genre with, action, flash, big sets, whatever, bits like, mustache twirling villains. It doesn't need to be, and also stop making villains who are just like environmental terrorists. Like, it's like, oh, the world's destroying the earth, so I'm going to destroy it first, kind of thing, to teach the world a lesson. No, just have a villain who wants money. Like, I want $1 trillion. Otherwise, I'm going to nuke this capital. Right. Let's just take it back to basics. So my issue with Denis Villeneuve is, like, look at his movies. A lot of his movies are very contemplative, very personal, very, very quiet. Like the Dune movies are very... yes, there is action, but there's not a whole lot of just like bombastic fun to it. They're not like fun movies, really. I mean, not in that sense, anyway. And Bond is supposed to be that kind of just devil-may-care, like action hero. Bless you.
Thank you.
So Luis,
that's all my feelings.
Quit interrupting, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you could silence your sneezes.
It's a mute button is right there. Okay.
And that's all I got to say about it.
Ed, can I talk?
That's me. Hello.
Ed, baby, it sounds like you're not looking forward to a Villeneuve, you know what I mean? Quiet, contemplative, same old James Bond romp. Okay. But just last week or the week before, I mentioned that James Bond game, and you seemed pretty cold on that too. And I know it's a different medium, but that whole game is like, we're not doing the contemplative, quiet, character-driven Bond thing. They were like, this is a hot young Bond.
Well, that's
Emotions
what I
be damned. Here's a twirling mustache twirling villain, and you seem kind of cold on that.
No.
Are you now saying, Miguel, thank you for bringing up that 007 game, because now I would actually really like to play that.
I believe I just said I didn't like the look of James Bond in that. I thought
it was too mousy for you.
How about too Tom Hollandy? How about that?
Okay.
But no, I liked that idea of, it's got, again, the big world traveling set pieces. You've got has some underwater action. You got some casino action. A little bit of everything.
Bond that goes to locations. Okay,
who doesn't? That's the whole fucking point.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't want to look into.
I don't want to look into Bond's dark past and discover all his traumas.
Could you imagine if Denis Villeneuve did a Bond and it was like the super campy version? All of a sudden, you were like, you didn't even realize he could do that.
I don't know. That's the thing.
Like he's like, fuck it. I
will say, since this news came out and since we discussed it separately on a separate
45
chat
minutes ago,
without Louise, and but the statement from Denis Villeneuve is like, yeah, he grew up with the Bond movies, as so many directors have, as so many people do, and he wants to return to that tradition of keeping it a new and exciting mission. That is what a movie should entail for James Bond. It's just a singular mission, without having all these intertwining storylines. And I think like the problem, especially with Daniel Craig, is that they kept retconning their storyline to work into the new villain, new story, whatever, and like have everything connected. And it just didn't work. It actually made it really fucking boring and dour. They lost that kind of James Bond luster.
Right.
So like, bring back a little bit, and don't get me wrong, Pierce Brosnan got very silly towards the end, but give us a bit of that pizzazz, a little bit of that excitement, that a little bit of playfulness, that's what Bond's about. I don't need like a fucking mirror to the real life misery that we're living right now. I just want to have fun at the movies, especially with a Bond thing. It's like, did it, slip my wrist.
I mean, look, you bring up a really good point, Ed, and you completely actually turned my whole opinion about this whole thing upside down. Like, I was going one direction, but now I feel you completely, and I think you're right. Because Pierce Brosnan ended on such a silly, wacky mode, they wanted to flip the script and be like, we got to be serious about this now. And so they tried that. They did a little too long. Things got a little discombobulated, and now, we want to go back to a little bit more of that fun James Bond. I think the issue here is that since Amazon has purchased the James Bond thing, I can feel them being afraid to be like, hey, let's get silly with it, because then people are going to be like, oh, you're not taking James Bond seriously. So they feel like they have such a holy grail of a IP that they're like, well, we have to treat it with such care that we need to get like somebody who can really care for it, and someone who can really make it a movie. And so they're looking out for all these prestigious directors to kind of take it and make sure it's not like schmackety. But but you bring up a good point. Like, the most of the history of James Bond is just like this fun. We're traveling around the world, little camp, but just like a fun romp going around. And it's like, we need to find a balance to go back to that and not go even further and deeper into this like dark, moody place that these directors could take us.
It's not a character that is supposed to be taken that seriously, like his actions and motives are, saving the world and all of that. But and the big picture, it's, your action hero saving the day from something. And that's all it needs to be. And if you do that and do that well, like, one of the best directors of the entire Bond franchise is Martin Campbell. Who is Martin Campbell, you say? He directed Casino Royale and GoldenEye, two of the what most people consider to be the best James Bond movies. But he's not a very, he's not like a big director. Like outside of James Bond, he's had like some smaller action films, but they haven't been like big hits. But people go back to those two movies as the best of the franchise. So I just think there's something to be said about going to, not necessarily an unknown, but just like, not a big auteur director. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that being said, they're gonna give him the money. They're gonna throw everything at this first new James Bond. So you can only just trust that, it's going to be something, and there's going to be something special. I just hope it feels like Bond, Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point? And that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, Miguel, your thoughts?
I hate James Bond, and I don't ever want to see another movie. So,
bravo, well said.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of big name directors, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you sound beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Do you guys know? Have you guys? If you want to talk about like a director who's like you haven't heard of him yet, this is like an up and comer. Okay. Steven Spielberg. Do you guys know who this name is?
Yeah.
He's done a big old new movie. It's a UFO movie. It's just wrapped. Okay.
Tell us about it.
One of the greatest directors of all time, Steven Spielberg, way bigger than Denis Villeneuve.
You know what? Pause. Steven Spielberg always wanted to direct a James Bond movie. I watched Catch Me If You Can the other day.
Can I tell you?
I would love it if he did a James Bond movie. I think that ship has sailed somewhat, but I think he would have been great. Anyway,
I just wish I would have thought about that segue in the way that you did. Okay, I was just trying to get us there, but you were cooking with that. You had that shit. You were ready to go.
But I've got too many Mogs in me. I'm just going to be an asshole.
No, actually, on the side, me and Josh have been talking about how too few Margs you have. But Steven, go ahead, Luis.
Oh. No. I mean, I put this on the doc because really, I thought, looking at the cast, this just speaks to Ed completely.
Can you
let me
do it?
Can I get the cast?
Do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Josh O'Connor. We got Coleman Domingo. We got Emily Blunt.
Ooh.
We got Colin Firth. Okay, and then I don't know about these two if you like, but Wyatt Russell and Eve Hewson. So when I saw those four names, okay, but when I saw like O'Connor, Domingo, Firth, I was like Blunt. I was like those two. He loves those. And
you may as well just named the new James Bond, the new M, and
Wyatt
the new
Russell,
Bond
right?
villain.
Perfect. So and then the screenplay is going to be written by David Koepp. He did the Jurassic Park movies. Let me list a few movies that he's done here. Oof, some rough ones too. Hey, look at this, Ed. He wrote Black Bag.
I know.
He did.
Yeah.
Black Bag. He did. Oof, I'm not going to read that one because that one's not good.
No, do it. Say it. Be true. Be honest.
All right, hold on. Okay. So he did the new Rebirth, Black Bag, Presence. Oh, the Steven. Indiana Jones, Style Destiny, The Mummy 2017, Jack Ryan, I know, Angels and Demons, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, War of the Worlds, Secret Window, Spider-Man, Panic Room, Lost World, Mission Impossible, the first one, Jurassic Park, Death Becomes Her, Toy Soldiers. All right.
Okay.
So excuse me if he has a couple of stinkers in there.
I mean, sounded like he was writers be writing. Am I right?
It sounded like he was really doing that shit for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
He's probably got one or two left in him.
I don't think he's earned his place. Like he can.
God forbid you cash a paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, you ever done something you were like super in love with, but you were like,
absolutely,
thank God I paid my bills, you know?
Black Bag is a great movie, and I would highly recommend it to anybody. Yeah. So,
this movie is set to come out June 12th, 2026, by Universal Pictures.
That's exciting. I mean,
yeah.
You got Spielberg returning to one of his
genres,
and it's a summer blockbuster, which we haven't seen in a while. He's been doing kind of just like these award season-y dramas of late.
Was the last one he did that filmmaker movie?
Post? Oh yeah, no, you're right. Actually, the
Spielbergs,
the Fablemans, the
Fablemans,
the Spielbergs. Yeah, I mean basically the Spielberg.
Johnny Movie Maker over here.
The Fablemans, and then before that it was West Side Story.
I don't know if I've ever liked that title, The Fablemans. To be honest, a little too on the nose.
That movie.
I don't know. It was a fine movie. I liked it.
Fable. This is a fable. The Fablemans.
Right. Yeah,
about I don't know. We've seen that before in plenty of other things, and it's like, is it the best? No, but whatever. It worked. I thought it was a good.
The movie. Storymans,
Okay.
My dad, David Storyman, and he taught me how to write stories.
Luis, you're about to start playing. Luis, you're about to start playing Death Stranding, and it's just like that's all Kojima does. Is he like makes names? He makes names. No, you're not, Ed. No, you're fucking. Don't interrupt again, okay? Ed, just sit there and don't talking. Okay.
My name is Desperation, and I desire water. Please, I'm so.
I mean, that is all he does. That is all he does.
Yes.
So if you're gonna play those games, get ready for it. Okay, is all I'm saying.
I'm still working on Claire Obscure, so I'm having a good time with that one. We're not talking about Claire Obscure. We're talking about casting. We got some more casting corner here. Spider-Man: A Brand New Day has casted Jon Berenthal, the Punisher, so we know that the Punisher is going to be in the Spider-Man movie. I imagine this is reinforcing the idea of them doing like street crime
level,
street level drama. That's all I got to say about that.
What do we guess? What's the over under? What do we think? What the PG-13 F word being said by the Punisher in this movie?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, 1,000%.
Okay, that's gonna happen. That's how they're like, see, it's gritty. He could be in this movie. Meanwhile, like this neon red and blue man is like swinging around the city. You can see his bulge from the fucking top of the Empire State Building. You're like, this is not the same movie, but okay, all right. They're both in New York. One of them mentions the Void, and you're like, it's the same universe.
Are you talking about? Yeah. I mean, it's I feel like when I heard this casting, it just felt like it's expected at this point. I don't know if is it,
the title sounds like a Natasha Bedingfield song.
Her name is Natasha, and you're going to say it right, okay? All right,
Natasha.
I don't like the title of Brand New Day. Like, let's just we did the day stuff. We don't need to be doing that again. Like, just do something.
I mean, what I think that they should have just done is just called fucking Spider-Man. You know, what I mean?
From Home.
All the home ones that was like the prequel, right? Like this one should have. Right. This one should have just been Spider-Man. Okay, like
Spider-Man.
What about the Spider-Man?
We've done it. Okay,
but now it's gonna be like which Spider-Man? Spider-Man 2001 or Spider-Man?
Right. Spider-Man 2026. You know,
right?
But still, I just think like. This, if we're gonna be like, this is the definitive years of Spider-Man, like, do it, you know?
What would be like, you know how you have the Dark Knight, the Man of Steel? What would it be for Spider-Man?
The wall crawler,
the webmaster,
the
your friendly neighborhood, your friendly friendly neighbor.
So technically, wouldn't it be the Amazing Spider-Man?
That would be it.
Hold on. Now you're onto something because they do have the Spectacular Spider-Man, which is another comic run.
Spectacular. Oh, okay.
I think the Spectacular Spider-Man would work.
Yeah.
Like
Amazing Spider-Man. Was that the Tom Holland one and not the Andrew Garfield one? That was
Amazing Spider-Man was.
That's what Garfield. They did, right? Yeah. So Spectacular. That's really. But again,
you can't say fantastic.
No.
Technically, he also was in the Fantastic Four for a little bit.
I saw that.
Was he really? Yeah. Like in the comics.
Well, yeah, he had like a paper bag over him. It's like a
it's a
bit.
Yeah, probably a bit.
Yeah. I mean, you got a paper bag.
I tell you this, the part of me in this moment is like, I don't want to watch it. But you show me a trailer, and I'm going to be like, oh, hang on, I want to watch the Spider-Man movie. I took my son. We had a chat earlier today where we were talking about taking my son to Superman or Fantastic Four this year. He's a little bit young. A couple of years ago when they came out with the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, he was, I mean, barely 4 years old. And we were like, you like Spider-Man? Let's go see this Spider-Man movie. What a fucking shit show. Man, that was just like, that was the worst decision ever. And so I'm like a little worried about this summer, but maybe by this next Spider-Man movie, he'll be like, I'm going to sit still for this. You know? But yeah, we're looking forward to it.
As long as the runtime isn't 245, you know what I mean?
Well, I tell you what, the next summer we took him to fucking Across the Spider-Verse, and same thing there. I thought it was going to be locked in because it was a cartoon movie. No. You know what I mean? Like,
see, okay, you're making a fantastic point. Like, the longer you make these movies, it's going to be worse for the kids. You know, that's why they did tight 90s back in the day, because kids can stand that for 90 minutes.
Who are these movies for? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, we want to go see it. We're adults. We can have a good time. We can sit through a 3-hour epic.
But
right?
in the end, it's for kids.
Who's it really for? You know?
Yeah. Who's going to buy the merch? Who's sitting through it? You know?
Baby, okay, can we talk about this real quick? Okay, can we talk about this now, just real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Luis, you texted earlier about how, like, oh, thank God,
reminds me.
My AMC has he's look at him frantically writing. Okay, you're like, what are you scribbling down right now?
Luis,
we'll talk about that later, or whatever he's scribbling down.
But we're talking about now is Luis. You texted earlier about how thank God last night the theater was so crowded, but I had the AMC A-List line to go get my concessions. Yeah, and I only bring this up because my son now demands a purchase from the AMC toy line. Now there's like a whole section of toys, popcorn buckets, cups. He wants the stuffy. He wants the throw blanket. He wants the fucking. There's a mystery bag if you grab. Shut
and
up.
You know that shit is like twice the price of what you can get on
too much. And we've had to start. We've had to start telling him no, and it's like we had to be like, do you want to eat this week or do you want this toy from AMC? Because one of these things is going to happen. Okay. But no, Luis said this earlier. Thank God for the AMC A-List concessions line, because I was able to get in, get out, and go see the movie, even though it was super crowded. And it had me thinking, Luis, I'm an AMC A-lister. I buy the subscription. I attend only AMC movies now. And it dawned on me that my home AMC does not have an A-lister line for concessions.
I've never seen it before.
I stand in line, and I hate to sound like this, like everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I pay a membership to get faster service.
I thought I was special, and I'm not at my AMC, because everything is grab and go there. Everything is grab and go. And you grab it, and then you go, and then you get in line.
Interesting.
So it's not like there's not a person behind the counter that grabs it for you.
Yeah.
Unless you're paying for hot food, quote unquote. And that little 14-year-old will give you the spill. He's like, if you just want popcorn, it's actually over there. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I know, but I want chicken tenders. Okay. Can you do that? But no, there's no A-list line, and it kind of fucked me up because I've been to the other AMC down the road, and it's like, there is an A-list line there, and I feel special. It's like when you go to Disney and you're the lightning lane. You're like, sorry, pores. Okay, like give me my popcorn now. All right.
Oh yeah, we have 2 people serving the A-listers, while there's one person serving all the normies, and their line is super long. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then we have 2 being like, next A-list. I mean, listen. I went
to the AMC in Texas one time. I think the time we went to go see Sonic, and it was the A-lister line and the regular line, but they were still calling up the next person one by one. So they would alternate, like imagine an A and B. So it'd be like, okay, A, come up, and then B, now it's your turn. So I was in the shorter line, but they still let a couple of them go first, and then they'd be like, okay, your turn, sir. And I'd be like, Sorry.
Yeah, sometimes they'll be like, okay, 2 A-list members back to back, and then I'll do a concession person, like a normal person.
And you know what? Like, I don't mean to sound elitist, but it's like, what do we do?
You know? I heard, like if you were on the Titanic and the ship was going
A-list
down.
I mean, let it be like a couple of kids and women and one of me. That's fine, okay?
It's like child, woman. Miguel, come on.
Because I would also be like, my wife and son are woman and child. They can go next, and then I will also be in the A-list line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, they deny it. If you like, I heard a story as I was waiting in line, but they're like, yeah, I know. My friend tried to go up there, and they're like, oh, you're not A-list? Get back in the line. Go back to the other line and wait.
And what's crazy is you could probably sign up for the A-list in the line if you hurry.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Like you could do that. No, blew my mind. And so anyway, yeah, no, just and then Ed, why don't you tell us one quick thing about Regal Rewards?
Yeah.
See, beyond the actual tickets, I don't get concessions very often.
You get free
upgrades?
You get free something.
I do get free. Yeah, I can like cash in on a free popcorn, free soda from time to time, which I do if I'm taking my
What about
daughter.
birthday? What about birthday popcorns? You get those?
I do get free popcorns, yeah, for my birthday.
I just got mine yesterday, yeah.
Cashing in, yeah. There you go. But yeah, I usually save it for when I'm taking one of my family who actually enjoys popcorn.
What?
They do have merch, but I don't seek it out. You know,
AMC's been like really up in their merch game as of late. First it was like a few things, and now it's like, damn, they keep putting shit out. Like every week it's something new.
It's a whole thing now. Like
it used to be one popcorn bucket. Now there's like 1, 2,
There's
3, and now we have different variations of one movie.
I walked up this week and I was like, okay, How to Train Your Dragon, Jaws for some reason, and then I was like, who is this woman with an ascot? And it was I had to ask, and they were like, oh, that's Megan.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? There's too many popcorn buckets, okay?
Yeah.
But also, Ed, just real quick, one final thought on this is you don't enjoy popcorn at the movie theaters?
No.
You make it really hard to like you, Ed. I'm just going to say.
I don't think that's news, though. I feel like we've talked about that. I hate popcorn. I don't. It does nothing for me. I'll tell you that.
What's the snack you get? Don't wait. No, I'm sorry. Don't.
You
start,
already
don't
fucking
start,
know it. Say it.
Don't start. I'm not doing this.
Luis, you say it. You know what it is.
Your favorite snack is those gummy bears.
No, it's not.
I do like gummy bears.
That's
but
a secondary dumbass movie fucking snack. You dumb.
No, it's like chocolate, right? It's like little chocolates.
Chocolate raisins.
Yeah, chocolate raisins. Yeah. I like chocolate raisins. I like to put little chocolate raisins on my popcorn.
I will say this, Luis. I saw that in Whiplash, and I wanted to try it. I haven't.
It's very
tried
good.
it.
If you're gonna do anything, you put M&Ms in the popcorn. Okay.
Why?
No, there's a little bit of salt, a little bit of sweet. So you get salty popcorn and then a sweet chocolate raisin.
It melts a little bit. You know,
it's very good.
Okay,
raisins.
I do need to try it out.
Are dried up grapes. Okay.
I love me a raisin.
And what is
Give me
popcorn?
a cinnamon raisin bagel. I'll eat that shit up.
Popcorn is inflated corn.
It's not inflated. It's popped. Okay.
Ooh.
You dumb fuck. All right.
You know what though? The other day when I went to go see a feature discussion, 28 years later, I took with me 2 home baked cookies.
You brought in outside food?
I do that frequently, my friend. If you think I'm paying theater prices for
are
food,
dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but not the food. I'm not paying those fucking prices.
That's how they make money, Ed.
No,
I hate it. Every time I never get any concession. Like when I go by myself, I typically don't get concessions. Yeah. But when I go with Sarah, it's like, oh, let's get popcorn and soda. I'm like,
can I tell you what I get?
Every time we have to get something.
Let me call my.
Well, first off, the popcorn and the soda. Popcorn and soda is a combo. You can get both of those in a combo.
$20.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that, but I'm just saying
you could upgrade to a large for.
But also, but with A-List, you can upgrade to a large for free. Okay, and I'm just saying,
it's still $20.
I mean,
it's a lot. It's a lot, especially when tickets, especially when tickets outside of your membership.
Tickets are free with both of them because they both have the fucking A-List thing, and they entourage it together, and they just get the tickets to any fucking format.
We're talking about those two. I'm talking about like families. My partner and daughter do not have their own fucking separate A-List membership.
You should get them Regal Unlimited for all two.
It's worth it for me. They don't see movies. They don't love movies as much as I do, but last time we went, it was like $40 just for those two. Like, kill me.
Was it a nighttime movie?
You know, it may have been, or a Sunday afternoon when we went to go see Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah,
fuck me.
Well, this is a great spin-off topic because I want to talk about the summer movie wager. Lilo and Stitch is still number 1. at $390 million. And then a deep shift off of that. Thunderbolts is number 2 at $189 million. Big shift there. Thunderbolts, the movie that said Marvel failed and didn't make enough money, which, for a Marvel movie, it really didn't. Surprisingly, is number 2. Mission Impossible at 180. How to Train Your Dragon at 171. Final Destination, 135. At number 6, we have Ballerina at 52. Another big drop there. Karate Kid Legends, 50. 28 years later, 36. Number 9, Elio is 26. And Materialists at 23.
So that's the current standing, but I would say a lot of these things are going to shift over the next few weeks because we have a lot of really big movies coming out. But could I, for this one moment in time,
yes,
can I just read the total scores? Can I just really quick?
Yeah, please.
And Luis, I get it. You're excited. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And the only reason I bring this up because regardless of Luis and Ed and Benny, this is the only time I'm probably going to be able to say this. Okay, so you guys just lock in with me for a really quick 5 seconds. Okay. As far as the summer movie wager goes, the total score is this: number 1 winner. Sorry, Ed, do you have something you want to say?
No, I'm just counting 5 seconds.
How dare you do a bit while I'm talking? Okay. In fact, let's start at the bottom. Number 4 with 30 points is Ed Ball, okay, which is kind of wild. But technically number 3. Technically number 3 because we're not going to count Benny. He's an unofficial voter this year.
Unofficial.
Although next year he's probably going to be solidified. But
he's
number 3
just going to be the P and the D in the end.
It's like Ed and I are fired, and all of a sudden it's just Luis and Benny.
Me, Ben, and Steven. Just
Steven or some other
We already know your
IGN.
designs, Luis. We already know your designs.
Benny's number 3 with 31 points. There is no number 2 because for a tie at number 1, 37 points each, Luis Gonzalez, Miguel Sanchez. What?
Yeah.
What?
We are tied.
And it is solely for me personally, Luis, I'll let you talk in just a second, but for me personally, it is solely because I happen to have something ridiculous. I think Mission Impossible is holding in my spot. I think 28 years later is holding in my spot.
How to Train Your Dragon is dead on.
How to Train Your Dragon. It's all of these things are going to shift potentially. And it's some of these are the ones that I need you to stay in this spot. Some of them I'm if it moves, it moves, but I could not believe when I did it. I would also say for the very first time ever, I've clicked on this link so many times every time we do the summer movie wager, but this website does a really fun thing, and I'm so sorry to bring this up if we've already talked about it, but it has each standing in its own category. And at the bottom of each person's standing, it goes, here's your single biggest mistake. Okay. And I would just like to read this really quickly for us. Okay. Luis, you're number 1 right now, but your single biggest mistake is you put Ballerina at 10. If you had replaced it with Materialist, you would have yielded a total of 47 points for first place. Miguel, your single biggest mistake, which is hilarious. You put Ballerina at 8th. If you had moved it to 6th, you currently would have had 45 points, taking you to first place. Hey, Benny, your single biggest mistake was that you put Thunderbolts at 7th when you should have put it at 2. That would have given you 42 points to be at first place. And Ed, guess what? Your single biggest mistake was you putting Thunderbolts at 8 when you should have put 28 years later. You would have had 37 points and you would have been in first place. What a website. I love that we're doing this. And just for right now, in this time, imagine World War III starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Luis.
We won.
We did good. We did great.
I'll split this in half with you.
Fucking thank you for fuel for the fire to keep me alive.
You know what we'll do? We'll melt this and create rings out of it.
Fuck. Yes, thank you.
3 rings to rule them all.
So we're gonna end the summer movie wager here by the end of June. And the winner is me and Miguel. So no, next week we have what's coming out this week?
Jurassic World.
Is it this? No.
Well,
yeah.
sorry.
Friday. Well, yeah, next week. But what's coming out June? Is it nothing big?
I think we're done.
F1, right?
Oh, here it is. F1. Yes, F1. And Megan 2.0. It's right here too in the link below. F1, Megan which I really want to see as well. Okay. All right. So that was our Some Movie Wager. Next, we're going to do what we're into before we do our feature discussion. Anybody, do you guys want to just speed through this real quick?
What we're into?
When did we shove this to middle like this?
I think I mentioned it a long time ago in the chat.
No, that's so chill. It's so chill.
I'm trying out a new format here. You know.
No, yeah. I love like on the fly. I love on the fly. Okay, definitely. Well, what I'm into.
This was talked about weeks ago.
You know what, Luis?
Can I bring up my Can we talk about this now?
Yes, Ed. Let's talk about it now.
All right. So, as most of our listeners and indeed the internet know, there have been two very, for some people fun and for some people very distressing occurrences that have happened in the media of late. And it happened again recently, and I feel like we do need to talk about it because I'm confused of where we stand on this. But Jonathan Bailey kissed Scarlett Johansson a second time on the red carpet for the Jurassic World Rebirth premiere.
Thank you.
No. I just want to clear this up. Just for my own clarity. Through our group chat, Luis very vaguely was very upset about like I just want to clear up some things.
I was not upset.
Okay.
No, hang on.
It was very like I don't know if we're doing a bit or if he's actually genuinely like perplexed.
I had to
why Jonathan Bailey could get away with kissing her on the lips.
I had to call Ed on the side and be like, "What is going on with Luis right now?"
Yeah,
you were very turned up about that, and we on our own were like, "I don't know what he's saying," and he was like, "I don't know what he's saying,"
and he never gave any clarity.
Never. And we tried. I thought we were like, okay, let's get to the bottom of this. Is this what you're trying to say? And every time we would ask Luis in the text, is this the clarifying question? Is this what you're trying to say? He would leave.
He didn't even say anything. And then he finally just tried to shut it down and say, it's too far gone. It doesn't matter
which
anymore.
Which is bullshit because we give Ed shit all the time. Where he's like,
much shit.
I couldn't go back and scroll up. But it's like Luis always scrolls up, okay?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden...
and now that it's happened again...
A second time.
We need to talk about it. Yeah, it happened again.
The kiss.
Yeah.
They kissed again on the red carpet. And Luis, you need to tell us now, verbatim,
walk us through
what was going
your
on.
Reaction.
So it was a very quick kiss. It was like and that was it. It wasn't even like a long kiss like that first picture was making it out to be.
So why did that rile you up so much, Luis?
It didn't rile me up. I just said, no, I might cut this out of the podcast. Okay? We'll have a discussion now. I might have cut it out though. I said,
fuck you.
What?
All right. Like, no, we're doing this bit to completion. I love the fact that Ed is like ready to commit to a bit, and then Luis goes, "We'll probably cut this."
Because it makes me look bad.
Oh yeah. What we're into. This is the part where we talk about what we're into. Miguel, what are you into?
Man, okay, you guys, I finally saw Elio this week. Okay,
you say finally? It just came out.
God damn it, Ed! I'm just trying to give him something to bleed into. Okay, guy, it just came out this week, but I finally let me tell you this. I finally saw Elio. You guys know this. There was a trailer came out 2.5 years ago for this movie, and they said this movie was originally going to come out in 2024. Okay. I accidentally clicked on a thread the other day that was like talking about Elio and how this isn't even the same movie they promised. And I was like, what are we talking about? What? And they posted the teaser trailer from 2023 or whatever. And I watched that trailer and I was like, holy shit, this is not the same movie they released at all. It wasn't even like, oh, this is a couple clips that weren't in the movie. It was like they redid the whole structure of the film. Which was kind of blown away. It's like the bad guy of the movie in the actual release was originally going to be like one of the side characters, like a part of the alien covenant or whatever we're calling it.
Congress,
and he was going to do like trials to like convince them that Earth was like ready to have aliens visit or whatever. And it was like, oh, none of these things actually happened in the movie, and they kind of reshifted the whole thing. There was like a shot in the trailer where when the aliens are like, bring us your leader, and the ant was like seeing it all on the screen, and in the trailer Elio is like on the phone with her, and she's like, I can't talk to you right now. And he was like, oh, okay, I love you, bye. And it was like, that wasn't the way they cut that scene in the movie at all. So anyway, I just only to bring up that one point is I was surprised watching the trailer from a couple of years ago how different the movie turned out. All that to say is I actually really enjoyed this movie. I took my son to go see it, and then a couple days later he wanted to go see it with his mom, so they went to go see it. And I thought it was like this kind of beautiful love letter to space and like space exploration,
which is right up your alley.
I was not expecting that at all, and there were so many. I'm sorry, I'm done. There were so many moments that I was like, oh my god, this is like they are legit talking about space right now. It's not like what I expected. And I told Kristen this. What I expected was like some sort of like WALL-E version of space, where it's like space is up there and they're going out having an adventure with it. But they like took their time to be like, no, this is like how Earth has treated space over the last like whatever the history of it, and especially with like the Voyager missions, and we sent this satellite, this probe into the beyond, and what did that mean for space? And I thought that was really cool. Like the opening scene is him in like a space museum, and he like gets lost in this like space exhibit, and it was just like. It was just kind of a magical moment for me personally. I really enjoyed it, and there were a couple of moments where my son goes, "This is really dark. This is really scary." But what he was really saying was, it was a lot of space shots, and it was like it was literally dark because the sun was behind the Earth, and it was like we're seeing the Earth, we're seeing the stars, we're seeing the moon, and it felt like, oh, I'm in space. It felt like Gravity, Ed. We saw that movie in IMAX. It felt like that.
IMAX 3D, baby.
It was like, oh, I'm in space right now. And for a Pixar movie, I thought that was kind of wild. But I had a great time with it. There was one moment, it's like of all Pixar movies, right? Like every Pixar movie's got to get you with something. The very end of the movie caught me, and that's where I like shed my tears. But I had a really good time, and my son obviously had a good time, and I would see it again. It had a really low performance as far as box office. But I would say this, as far as like an original Pixar movie, I thought it was really good.
Wow.
There you go.
Luis, you had your hand raised earlier about something. But I have a point I want to bring up.
I know you like space movies. I know you like mob movies. Like, what if there was a mob movie in space, like directed by Martin Scorsese? Like, what would you think about that? Would that be like, this is too good?
And that's basically what we got. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they were like, hey,
do you like the movie Sunshine?
Elio.
I'm spacewalking here.
Do you like the movie Sunshine?
I love Sunshine. That was not a mob movie, but yeah, I love Sunshine.
It's a power dynamic. I'm trying to think of like power. I'm like, hey, we're going into space. I mean, we're going to take over.
Hey, oh, what if the sun died?
Okay.
Yeah, I loved Sunshine. It was great.
Ed, you had a point?
Yes, I want to point to the fact that whenever we got this trailer, I put it on the dock, and you guys gave me hell for it because it's and you both were ready to renounce Pixar, basically. Just like, yeah, I'm over Pixar.
I told you, never trust me. My opinions will change, and I am. I will be a different person.
Agreed.
I just want to point to the fact that hey, maybe
this is the new. This is the new gen Pixar where they all have like the really big kind of like round croissant eyes. You know what I mean?
Well, and they did that in Red Panda, right?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's just like this is like this generation of Pixar where I feel like Elemental was kind of in between the two,
True.
Two versions, but
not Luca, right?
Luca is not Pixar. Luca is not Pixar.
It is Pixar.
It is.
I can't stand this shit where it's like Encanto from Pixar, but it's like it's the same thing, okay? But no, Luca is.
But no, when there's a movie with about croissant spaghetti, eyes, you're like
croissant eyes. No,
yeah,
Italians, go fuck yourself. All right, no, I don't know. I just I did not want this movie initially when it came out, but it was a good time, and I here I am, you know.
Well, I mean, I do plan on seeing it, but that's kind of like nice and refreshing, if anything, to hear, because I feel like it's going to be overshadowed by its poor box office. But then again, if you guys recall, Elemental opened very poorly, but then had long legs throughout the rest of the summer.
This is going to be one of those Disney Plus like runs where it's going to be released on Disney Plus, and then families are going to lock in and watch it.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. But I do, like I said, look forward to seeing it, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you got something out of it.
I did. It was good. I don't want to hype it up too much, but I legit, like I said, the very last line of the movie is like they had said it in the previous, said it earlier in the movie, and then they regurgitated it for the end because it's like transmission. It's not just like dialogue. It's like recorded dialogue that they use multiple times. And at the end, I didn't expect them to use it. And the visuals they were using while they said it, I was like, oh, fuck, that was really good. And like, of course, it's like there's no end credit scene. So like the lights came up and I was like, get up, we're leaving. Okay.
The kids are like, what's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. Okay. Just get your trash. Leave it. I don't care. Just get up. We're going before everyone else gets up. But no, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Listen, this is the second week in a row I wanted to talk about this. We're probably going to skip it again, but we'll come back if we get to it.
Just talk about it. I'll skip mine. You talk about yours.
No. We'll get to it if we get to it. I want to see what you and Luis have to say. Go ahead.
All right. Well, mine is really quick. I've just been going down you guys know I like to watch old movies, and I've been trying to challenge myself with some ones that I haven't watched before. I'm a big fan of, I say a big fan, but I grew up loving The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, and I'm a huge lover of the musical score of the Seahawk, and so I finally watched that movie, which is on Max right now, starring Errol Flynn. It's basically a pirate adventure movie. If you listen to the score, it'll, for some people, sound instantly recognizable. And then just today, I watched another movie where I had read it was Errol Flynn's favorite role of his, Gentleman Jim, which is like a boxing movie, essentially. And I mean, Errol Flynn, such a charismatic, 1930s movie star, very dapper, very suave. And his movies are a lot of fun. The Seahawk had a lot. You could see like a lot of resemblance to The Adventures of Robin Hood. There's like very similar action beats, but it had some pretty cool shots of its own. And Gentleman Jim was just fun. And then, courtesy of Luis, I got to rewatch Good Night and Good Luck, which is very topical for right now. It focuses on, Edward R. Murrow's campaign against Senator McCarthy during the height of McCarthyism in this country, which resonates now especially. And I know George Clooney is doing a play version of this right now, where he's playing Edward R. Murrow in the movie. David Strait.
He's doing very well on Broadway.
I think Apple is going to do like a recorded show of it. But anyway, all that to say, that's a great movie. If you've never seen it before, it's a tight hour and 33 minutes.
Ooh,
really, it's really good. It just resonates. So that was fun. And then I don't suppose either of you have heard of the British show called Taskmaster.
Tell us more.
But me and Sarah, I've been wanting to watch it, but Sarah out of nowhere approached me with it. And I was just like, yes, absolutely, let's watch it. I think we're watching it on Tubi or Pluto right now. But it's basically, the setup is it's basically a band of comedians. It's the Taskmaster's a British comedian who I'll look up the name. But basically, each season there are 4 comedian contestants, and they are just tasked with some obscure or fun task where they just have to tackle it any way that they see fit. But it's things like how using these materials, how can you get this egg like as high as you can without the egg breaking? And you have like things like paper and stuff like that to do it, but they don't tell you like you can throw it up in the air and catch it, or or do you have to use the paper or something like that? Or one of them was like you've got to figure out the fillings of each pie, and they had like several pies laid out, and there's one guy there refereeing. And everybody was like, you can't cut the pie, but you can look at it and smell it as long as you don't break into the pie. But you could actually use the referee to do it for you, kind of thing. So it's like a little mental game, but it's fun because obviously it's well-known comedians doing it. And the comedian, like they rotate comedians throughout each season. It's a fresh cast
like a
every
6-episode season.
It's got to be less than
maybe
2, 3.
Like typical of British TV, it's probably 6 or 8 tops.
Hold on,
but
I'm looking at this.
The host is Greg Davies, who's a well-known actor. Miguel, you would know him as a teacher from In-Betweeners.
Oh, yeah.
Like the kind of grumpy one,
like the nose and the forehead.
Yeah. And like famously, he was like a school teacher who quit teaching to become a comedian and actor, and obviously succeeded. It's in his bones. But it's a lot of fun, and I look forward to just getting through all of the seasons. But anyway, it's a fun live. I think you guys would enjoy it if you gave it a chance.
One quick thought, my very last thought, is what is it like to watch something on Tubi or Pluto?
Well, you do get ads, and they are very random ads, but beyond that, it's fine.
Random in the ads themselves, or random at the timing of the ads?
Random, the ads themselves. The timing works mostly.
I feel like I watched. Do you guys remember that show, The Jury Duty? Jury Duty.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched that one on Freevee. That was
it was a Freevee original. Like
but
it
should have been on Prime.
Well, Freevee is owned by Prime.
I also watched Mad Men on Freevee, and that was a whole topic of conversation when I watched it, was because I got ads in it, and I was like, it felt very
random places.
But it felt like what John Hamm would want me to do, you know?
Yeah, you
like see some ad in the middle of Mad Men. Ed, man, thank you so much for watching 45 things in between last week and this week. I
watched more, but I kept it out. So
this is your streamlined list.
Yes.
When are you a good dad? Let me ask you that. Like when? No. I'm sorry. I'm fucking around. I'm sorry.
Hang on.
No, sorry. I'm sorry. Fuck. I'm sorry. I'm just doing a bit. I'm just being silly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can cut this. I
feel bad now.
Keep it.
Okay, so Taskmaster, I mean, I'm looking at Wikipedia. It says there are 19 seasons of this thing.
Yeah, so it's been going on. And me and Sarah on season 1.
Hell yeah, brother. So I'm going to be quick on mine. I've been watching this. Obviously, I've been watching Poker Face. That's a good show. I've been watching actually this Apple TV show called Stick with Owen Wilson in it. And it was just something we wanted to throw on when we had lunch. We don't want anything too serious. The golf show. Nothing we want to get too attached to. Him and Mark Maron is also in it. And we're like, whatever, let's just throw it on. It's actually, we've been enjoying the show pretty much. It's like a 30-minute show. It's great to just throw on and have a good little laugh. Not too stressful. And they come out weekly. I think there's like 6 episodes out now, but it's about Owen Wilson. He was a good wrestler, and then something bad happened, and then he flipped out, and now he's not a wrestler. I'm sorry, golfer. He's but now he's not a golfer.
Those are two very different things. What the fuck?
And then,
you've been watching too much wrestling, Luis.
I know. And then I have a wrestling podcast too. So okay, so then, but he then he starts mentoring this other kid who's an incredible golfer. But it's very, if you like Owen Wilson, I'll say if you like Owen Wilson and Mark Maron, you're gonna love this. That's all. I don't want to say too much. Just watch it if you want. Also, I finally finished Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Stephen gave me this book. It's about the Duncan Egg, and this is the George R.R. Martin like side series. They're just like these fun little romps and adventures. They're 3 short novellas, I guess, or 3 short stories. Not really too short. They still take some time to read, but like there are 3. Let's see. Do I have them here? Here it is. This is the book.
That's not short.
Well, there's 3 books in here.
Okay.
You know, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and Stephen was right. Like, if you're like scared about George R.R. Martin and you don't want to read like all the 1,000-page books and the 8 books and then this book and that book, this is just like if you want a taste of George R.R. Martin in the world of what place is this?
Westeros.
If you want to just be in the world of Westeros, but you don't want to overly commit, this is a fun book. So, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. What's up?
I tell you what, I will pay for shipping and handling if you want to ship that to me, and I'll read it, and then I'll do the same to Ed if he wants to read it, and we could read the same copy. Yeah, I swear to God, I'll do it.
I'm going to say it right now. Miguel's not going to read that fucking book.
Put your ring finger up on that book one more time. Show the book, and then do this. Put the book up, Luis. No, the side, and then put your finger up to it. You'd be like, look how big that is. That's not big at all. I'd read that book, you motherfucker.
Oh, I see.
You think I can't read 45 pages? I could do that. All right.
This is about a 300-page book.
You know what? How dare you interrupt me? Okay.
A little bit more than 45, though.
Okay, but let's see. The first story. No, I mean, if the first story is 100 pages. And
Luis,
Miguel,
as long as you pay for shipping,
I would do it. Why are you saying Miguel? I said I would do it.
Look, and there's pictures and like.
Stop. Don't, I swear to God, don't you ever be like, oh, and Miguel, also,
they got pictures.
You fuck, all right? It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad that you did that.
So it's not a true 100. It's like, you cut down. Look at this battle scene.
Is that what you guys think of me? First off, I get it if you think I won't read books. If you think I'm like not a book reader, fine, whatever. But if you were like, oh, Miguel needs fucking pictures in his books, that hurts, okay? That hurts. I am literate. I can read. I know how to read. Okay?
You can read, Miguel, or you just choose not to. I believe
I'm playing video games. I'm sorry.
You asked me years ago for the unabridged version of The Count of Monte Cristo, and I got you that fucking book.
Can I tell you?
And wait, raise your hand if you know where that book is right now.
It's right there. I kept it with me. It's one of my personal keepsakes. I would never get rid of it.
And what is it like? It's
huge.
Holds up other
it's
books?
It's like 4 fingers long. Okay, all right. It's huge. I'm sorry. I read it in the car one time and it got car sick. Okay, that's how much I was devoted to it. I loved that book, and it was one of my most prized possessions. I would grab it in a fire. You fuck.
And that's a flammable item, Night
of the Seven Kingdoms, George R.R. Martin, fun read. And then I also watched Superman for the very first time.
Yeah,
1970, whatever.
Oh,
okay. We're watching it. We haven't finished it.
Yeah.
Are you watching it with your daughter?
Yes.
No. You did?
Yes.
You showed her that one scene?
No.
The first bit?
That bit?
Not the bit.
I didn't know it was coming, but she saw it. Yeah.
And what did she? Okay. Well, I don't want to get into it.
She sees her brother's.
Okay, so Superman. This is the where is he going?
I don't know.
Oh, he's probably getting the book. This is the 1970 version, and he's gone. Okay, look, it was of its time, and I like the Superman and Lois Lane. I think their chemistry is really great. And honestly, in 1970s, what do you want? You want Superman being Superman. And so when you finally get Superman, it's like fun, you know.
Christopher Reeve nails that persona of
exactly. That's what I mean. That
Clark Kent, Superman alter egos.
That carries the movie.
Yeah. I do think Richard Donner was definitely leaning into the Messiah figure in a sense.
Yeah, 1,000%.
From the origin, and I think that's why it was kind of, I don't know, acceptable to show what you're alluding to. Okay. You know what I mean? I could just see them being like, oh yeah, it's just like Christ as a child, basically.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I will say I was excited because I was just like, let's just get to the part where he's Superman. You know what I mean?
So was Lily.
Yeah.
You know, it's slow. I was surprised at the pacing of it. I'll be honest.
I was just like, let's get to him being Superman. And there was a part, I don't know how far you are, but there's a part where it was just like, we were looking at space for like 5 minutes and just voiceover. And I feel like this movie, the producer who bought it, they're like, I wanted to be campy. And then Richard Donner's like, no, I want to make it at least somewhat grounded. And they fought for that. So I feel like some parts they were like piecing it together in edit. Yeah. Of just like, we got to find a way to make this work. And this was the way that he was able to have a compromise. It was like, we got to stitch it some way. But yeah, great Clark Kent, great Superman. There's just one cool shot, I'll say. I think for the 70s, it's like pretty like that's pretty cool for the 70s. So Superman, Lois Lane's talking to Superman. Superman flies away on a oneer. Superman flies away. She then walks. She hears a knock. She then goes to her door. She opens the door and it's Clark Kent. And I was like, whoa, did we just pull that? Like, did anyone notice that just happened? Like, that's cool, Like, if you cut it, it would have taken away the magic of like how fast he is in it. And I think Lex Luthor should not be hiring that. What's it called? His like a goon.
Either one of those goons. Like, let's be honest. Like,
if he's the smartest guy, he would not hire that guy. So anyway, Superman. I might watch the next one, but if I do, I might watch the Superman Donner cut because I think Superman 2 had another one.
It was, and then the third and fourth one are notoriously bad.
Yeah, I mean, my curiosity might make me see that.
Listen, we watched all of those Planet of the Apes movies. Like, you could watch a couple of bad Superman movies. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Those Planet of the Apes weren't as. I feel like this Superman's gonna be way campier than those Planet of the Apes movies.
Okay.
Those Planet of the Apes movies, like monkeys were dying. It was pretty serious business. There was like encampment, imprisonment. You know what I mean? Killing. And like this poopy's like, whoa, I stepped on a rock. Whoa. And then like Superman, I'll save you. You know what I mean? Like, and then he saves a cat. He's like, I can talk, Superman. Like,
is this the movie? Silly. The movie you watch, is this the one where he freezes the lake and he picks it up and he drops it over the fire?
What?
Okay, we're not there yet. All right.
No, but this is the one where I'll wait till Ed catches up to it. But there are some moments I was like, that's not possible. This is all not possible.
It's all very, I mean, the shtick. I gotta say though, I do adore that outfit, the costume.
It's so simple. It's just like a Halloween costume.
But it's so clean.
Yeah,
and it just looks good.
It looks like a simple costume. I will say, I do appreciate the little textures.
And I always preferred that leaner looking Superman. I don't need
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I guess like Henry Cavill is who I'm alluding to there. Yeah, I just like there's something a bit more because there's something more to say about his super strength coming from
if he's lean.
Yeah, because
like his
on his planet he would have been.
It's like in his fingertips he could lift up the planet.
He would have been normal, but like because he's on Earth, but as a regular. But anyway. I digress.
It's actually getting me excited. I mean, it's getting me excited for Superman. I feel like, wow, this Superman might be like the Superman movie. And there was a shot, I think I shared it with you in one of our chats, where it was just Superman standing in the Fortress of Solitude. And for the first time, I was like, fuck, that is Superman.
So we didn't get that. What chat are you talking about?
Oh, absolutely. This was the Summer Movie Wager chat.
Yeah.
No, we're not in that one. That was something you were doing.
You're definitely in it because you're bragging about how you're number one on the Summer Movie Wager.
Can I just really quickly, apologize to Ed? I did jump into my library next to me while y'all were talking, and I actually just very quickly, I do not have. Yeah, fuck off, Luis. I do not have the Count of Monte Cristo in this current library, but I do have it in a box.
You know what it is, Miguel? You know what it is? I think I actually have it here.
No, please tell me you don't have it at your house.
I do.
Go get it.
All right.
Are you looking at it? So while Ed's doing that, I just want to say that I personally went and looked at my library. I know what book he's talking about. I went and I grabbed the biggest book we have in paperback. I said, this got to be it. It was not. And then I was like, well, it must be in my library. It must be in my storage. But he is coming back, and I'll tell you what he's about to say is, Miguel, you let me borrow it.
Because I had a feeling.
Go ahead, tell me.
There it
That's
is.
not it. No. That's not it. Show me the cover. That's not it. That's not mine.
Okay.
Mine is like, imagine like the who did Paul Giamatti play in that US president show? What was that thing called?
John Adams.
My guy looks like John Adams on my cover. He's like
it's basically that picture of Alexander Dumas.
Yes. Yeah. It's not a horse on stairs or whatever. But I will say this. I have that book. It is one of my most treasured items. I would not get rid of it. No, don't worry, Luis.
That's a big ass book.
It is big, and that is probably the size of the book that Ed gave me, okay? Can I say one more thing, Ed, while you're trying to shame me real quick?
Yeah.
By the way, one of my most treasured possessions, the car ride where I read that book and I got car sick on, my grandparents were driving. They're both dead now. All right? So one of the most treasured items I hold is that book. I would never get rid of it. And so the fact that you would dare shame me into thinking that I got rid of that book, I would never. All right?
Well, bless
can't wait
you
to watch
for not.
Superman. Superman looks good. I can't wait to see the movie. What a podcast. Let's get into our featured discussion at the bottom.
See, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you about something here.
Don't be honest with you. Not now. No.
Okay, you're right. Today, we're talking about 28 years later, the latest movie from Danny Boyle. This is a sequel to his other movies. 28 years later follows a boy named Spike as he journeys off to become a man and to kill some zombies infected. They all live in a little island, and they have to travel into the mainland to get resources. It is only the UK that is affected. They are quarantined. So this little kid is off going on adventures, killing little zombies, and adventures.
Or rather
ensues.
large ones, am I right?
Oh yeah, little large blobby ones. This movie starts Aaron Taylor Johnson, and it has Jodie Comer and a brand new kid and a brand new actor, Alfie something, right?
Yeah, and Ralph Fiennes.
How can I forget Ralph Fiennes? Okay, he's fun. All right, so 20 years later, this is Alfie Williams. I was correct. Okay. All right, thoughts, y'all. What was? Let's just get into it. Initial thoughts of the movie.
I saw it first. Can I go first?
Absolutely.
If I could just, okay.
I love that.
I was excited about this movie. I'd seen the first one. I'd seen the second one. A lot of people talk shit about the second one. I think the second one's not the best movie ever, but it does have a lot of good moments. What I loved about this one is they brought it back to the like honed in, quiet version of this franchise. When they came out, it was scary, but they said we're going to do that periodically. I will say the trailer made you think it was going to be one movie, and I don't know about you guys, but about halfway into the movie, I was like, "Oh, this is what we're doing." I did not expect that. I did not expect that at all. I was kind of surprised that like
we made it back home already.
No, exactly. Like every trailer they show of this movie is Aaron Taylor Johnson and the kid out in the world, and really that is just the opening of the movie. Essentially, that's essentially the when they get back is like the end of the first act. It is not a father-son story. It is this little boy like coming of age story, and like kind of grappling with this like innocence in this really dark world. And I thought they did a really good bit about showing like he at the opening of the movie before he goes out into the mainland for the first time is like he goes and picks up his like Power Ranger, which is very like color coded, and he goes and puts it down and he says, no, you stay here. And I just want to say, like, I am a sucker for these like kid growing up movies, because it's like we've all been kids, we've all grown up, but also I think about my kid every time. And I know it's just a shitty, like boring thing I say all the time in these movies, but it's like that's what I think about when I watch them.
It's true. It's a reality of life. You know, I'm sure
it's
thousands of dads feel the same way.
See, there's and the thing is like I see myself in Aaron Taylor Johnson's role until I don't. And I thought that was really great for me in this movie. It was the way they shifted that character. I was not expecting that. And what was from the trailer to the movie, in watching the movie, I was like, oh, I kind of don't like this guy. And then like he would like, by the time he came back to the island, I was like, you're kind of a dick, you know?
Yeah.
But I also saw like who he was. Like, imagine being a dad where they even say it. He's not the biological dad of this kid. He is like a man who like stepped up. You know what I mean? But wait,
he's really not the biological dad of this kid?
No, they say that. They say that in the movie, that because she tells the boy at one point, like, if your father were still alive. That's like one of the first things she says to him.
Damn, I forgot. I was deep
It's
in
like,
my Slurpee.
like when she's sick in bed and she's like tossing things around before he gives her the bacon or whatever.
See, I thought she was referring to like either her or Aaron Taylor Johnson's father.
No, now that you say that, because she does have those moments where she refers to her father, and maybe that's what they were setting up. But the way I interpreted it was that's not his real dad. That's like in the world of like, imagine The Walking Dead or whatever. Like you just kind of like make your own families from the ashes of what was, you know. That's how I took that, but I might have been wrong. That's how I saw the whole movie, though. Was he's not his real dad.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I mean,
because there's so many moments where
perspective, but
like when he sees him as this father figure until he doesn't, and I feel like that was how I saw it. It was like he wanted him to be his dad, and then he like grew up, and that was kind of like the theme of the movie, is like this boy growing up. So I was kind of surprised by the turn of events in the story. It felt like I was in the world until it didn't. Then all of a sudden it felt like kind of a different movie, and we can talk about that when we get there. But I really enjoyed it. I loved the evolution. I think that's something they wanted to play with. This is not day one. This is 28 years later, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
what?
I know, huh? And this is and this is how they played with it. And I kind of liked that they went, this is not a dead person. This is an interview I saw where he's like, these aren't dead people. These are people that are infected with this virus. And there's still people who are infected. And right. I was like, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. To me, they're always dead. But
they have a line. They have a line in the movie where they're like, when the guy's hanging upside down and the kid's hesitant to kill, it's like, they're already gone, son. They're already gone. Like you can just.
He tells him like the mind is gone, so they're not there anymore. He's basically saying like their soul is not there anymore. And that's what I liked about him in that moment, is like, okay, Aaron Taylor Johnson is like this type of dad. He's like this type of man. Like, we are where we are, and we have to live and exist in this world, and you need to be ready to do it. But instead of giving you that like kind of like Last of Us feeling where it's like he's making these choices and you go, oh, he doesn't want to do it. He kind of revels those moments. He kind of likes it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to kind of like hype his boy up. He's like, I want you to be this man. I want you to be this not killer, but someone who can kill. And I just kind of liked that there was this fight of like innocence and naivety to like, no, I need to be true to myself, and like I need to live in this world, but I need to be who I am and not you. And I was just like, my God, I did not expect any of these themes when I saw this trailer a year ago. You know, I liked it. I'll let you guys talk about it. Sorry, thank you for letting me ramble.
Ed, what did you think about this
movie? I came out of it thinking like, what the fuck was that movie? What did I just watch? I'm not. I think I've been vocal before. I'm not like a huge, and I know that's not exactly the correct term, but I'm not like a huge zombie genre fan. It's not my go-to. And whilst I appreciate 28 Days Later, it's not one that I go back to ever, really. I've maybe seen it 2 or 3 times all the way through.
That's kind of a lot, though. That's kind of a lot. I mean, 2 or 3 times. Like, imagine. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm just saying. That's a decent amount. Is all I'm saying.
But I do appreciate that. People do. They love this movie. Or 28 Days Later. I mean, so I wasn't precious about the franchise, and just from the trailer alone, like you were saying, Miguel. I mean, it definitely sets up a certain tone that. You could say it's misleading, but I feel like overall it definitely feels like a 28 Days Later film. I think they do a really good job at kind of keeping that aesthetic. I mean, it's a Danny Boyle film, and the from the cinematography to the editing to the music choices, you could 1 minute it could be like really jarring, but somehow it works. It's like punk filmmaking almost, and punk rock filmmaking. And it's, to that level, I appreciate it. I will say this, I was on edge a lot of the time. There's a lot of tension throughout this film. I do feel like I struggled a little bit with the pacing of it at times. I do feel like it falls into these trappings of characters just doing idiotic things for the sake of progressing the story forward. And that drives me a little crazy sometimes.
I agree.
And I appreciate it to push the story forward, but I don't know. There are some things where I just like rolled my eyes because I couldn't get on board with it. And however, I think there was not a moment where I was able to predict where this film was going, which is pretty remarkable. And I've got to say, and we'll get more into detail, the last minute of this film was so kind of batshit that I was just like, okay, show me that second film.
Yeah.
For so many different reasons, but I was just like, not what I expected at all. And I have a feeling or an idea in my head of what 28 Days Later was and what I assume 28 Weeks Later was as a franchise. You
saw that movie, right?
I didn't see 28 Weeks. No.
I would say watch it only because I want to hear your thoughts. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's definitely a movie you could put on like during work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'd be curious to know like what you guys like, where you would hold it as a whole of this. Let's call it a trilogy for now.
Listen, the opening of this movie is what they wanted to do in 28 Weeks Later. But they only did it in the opening of that movie. Okay. Danny Boyle directs the opening scene of 28 Weeks Later, and then the other director takes over for the rest of the movie.
Oh wow!
And you could honestly turn the movie off after the opening of that movie.
Woof. So it definitely just subverted my expectations as to what this franchise was. As it wasn't just a clear-cut zombie survival movie. Mm-hmm. There was, there was a deeper story. There was a journey that this kid had to take with his mother or whatever. And along the way, you are not only getting a taste of this post-apocalyptic society, but also the factions and groups of the fallout of this plague or whatever. And so, especially again in that last minute, you're just like, oh, okay, this really is going in.
They crank it up.
They really do into those I guess possibilities. So it was mostly entertaining. Like, I was gripped. I was on the edge of my seat. There were some frustrating moments, but like I said, there was so much of it I just did not see coming, or I couldn't predict. And I can only give it credit for that. It wasn't that there was anything that I found egregious. Oh, and I will say this is what this movie actually accomplished. Last night, after seeing it, last night, I literally just had nightmares of myself in that world.
I think that's interesting. As I didn't feel nightmares, but I did walk out of that theater for the first time in a long time feeling like unsettled and feeling kind of like it takes me a minute to get back into the real world after watching that movie, which I do think is kind of like a Danny Boyle 28 years later.
Yeah.
Like
it's
vibe.
Very disorientating. It's very immersive, the way that it's shot. Mm-hmm. It's very in your face. Like I said, the cuts, the edits, the way that it's shot is very in your face. I feel like it's a movie that would drive people like Christopher Nolan up the wall, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's just like there are so many shots that are like out of focus, and that it's deliberate.
But that's also that's kind of how he did the first movie too.
No, I know, and that's what I mean. Like that's why it feels of a whole, but at the same time, it can be jarring at times, and you don't know how to feel about it because it is very flustered. It's very aggressive, the way that it's shot, the way it comes at you, especially that opening scene. It's like very in your face. Anyway, I've rambled on. Like, I don't know how to feel about it. It's not one of those things that I came away thinking like, that was fucking fantastic. I found it frustrating at times. I found it rewarding at times. I found it interesting, thought-provoking, exciting. A lot of mixed bag. But then, like, I had a really rough night's sleep because of it. So take that how you like. But
you had a couple things that I want to touch on, but I don't want to interrupt Luis. I want to give
let's hear Luis.
Let's hear his thoughts.
Well, what's great is that you guys kind of said a lot that I wanted to say. Obviously going into it, you think it's going to be one movie and then it transforms into something else. What I really like about this movie is it feels very episodic, where you're going from one moment and then it transforms into another moment, and then you introduce this brand new character that we kind of allude to at the beginning. The Swede, he joins the party. And then once, we leave him, and then we introduce a tiny little character, and then we finally get to Ralph Fiennes. It's just like we follow. I've always liked that type of storytelling. And if I ever was able to do something like that myself, I always like this ending itself, where it's like, we're going to do this. Yes. And this. Yes. And this, instead of it just being like one, like A to B plot point, where this is like, we're adding this, but then this happens. So it causes us to do this, then this happens. So I always find that entertaining. And I also appreciate the fact that this movie is so different from the other two movies. I think sometimes when you get sequels, you want to repeat the success of the last one.
Yeah.
And this one did not do that, where it was like, it's its own original thing, but it's still within the family. And that's like one of my favorite ways of like approaching sequels and things like that, which gets me excited because the next movie, if it's going to be tonally than what we experienced at the very end of this movie in that last minute, then I'm like, okay, cool. That's going to be different. It's actually going to have a different director to it as well. And that's just a preview of what's to come. Then I'm here for having some sort of just like different flavor so that people can attach to, like, this one is the one I connect to. This one's my favorite movie. But it's all in the same world. Different
flavor, but the same restaurant kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And so, I think in the end, like you said, it is very much a coming of age story. And I think the whole thing is going to be a coming of age story. Like, this is act one of obviously of a trilogy. It's act three. It's like this kid's discovering himself. He realizes he doesn't want to be like his dad. This community is forcing him to kind of like be this person that he isn't. And his dad wants him to be, and they're glorifying it. The whole community is. And from a good intention too. It's like, look, you're only survivors. You need to survive, so we're giving you these skills.
You need to know the rules. Yeah.
Like, we're not going to come after you if you're stuck out there. Like, and you need to kill them. You need to see them this certain way, and it makes sense, but it's complicated, and the way that they go about it, this kid doesn't attach himself to, and the way that they disregard life and human in some way, the way that he disregarded the mother, he just couldn't take it. And so, he goes off, he is literally diving into the real world for the first time. Like, as a young person, when you're like 6 or 7 and you realize, oh my God, there are bad people, or we die, we die. Like, even that's like a huge thing as a little kid. Like, this whole thing talks about death, and everyone, even like, whether you're infected or you're a person, everyone's going to die, and we need to respect that death is kind of like what Ray Fiennes says at the end. But all that to say is, like, this kid for the first time is breaking out of his childhood. He leaves his toy. He's finally find the coldness, or just the reality, of the world. And now that he's been plunged into that, now we're going to do Act 2, which is the next movie, Bone Temple. And it's going to be the college years or something like that. You know what I mean? It's going to be
wacky. You think they're going to age up?
I don't know if they're going to be their age up, but I'm just saying, like, the
more
wackiness,
so the sense of it all.
Yeah. Like, it was very heavy, and the dad was just on top of him. He didn't have any agency or freedom to be who he is as a person. You know what I mean? He was serving his dad. He was helping his mom as a caretaker. Now he's on his own. Now that he's learned from Ray Fiennes that he can survive out there on his own, he's like, okay, I'm going to be a man, discover who I am as a person, not be thrown these ideals from my community. Like, I'm going to go out. And so now we're going into the second movie, where he's going to meet these very free-spirited people who, I will say, are also acting like children too. But isn't that like the college years? Like, you grow up thinking, I'm an adult, but you're also like still acting like a child. Sure. And so we're going to go, and that's the moment when you continue to learn about yourself, and you say, this sticks and this doesn't stick. Like, okay, I got that out of my system. And then when we get to the third act, he's going to become, like, fully identify who he is as a person, as a kid. I don't know if it ages him up to like someone else. Who knows? They could do 28 days, because at the end of the movie, it was like 28 days later. And I love that.
Back. Yes.
What if the next trilogy is 28 weeks later, and we get to see that? And then what if the next one's like 28 months later? Like, if
those are like the prologues or whatever. Yeah.
Like, if you're able to imbue that within this trilogy of 28 years later, I think there's some fun that you can do with this character, and it allows that character to grow. But I mean, as far as like, this is a coming of age story, and so that's just like the plot. As far as enjoyment goes, I did have a great time. I saw it in Dolby. The sound was fantastic. It was great seeing it on the big screen. I know a lot of it was shot on an iPhone. And damn, I mean, look, it's amazing what we can do on iPhones. Yes, albeit they had like these amazing lenses that they're able to attach to it. And so, like, it on the edges, it was like a little bit out of focus, and it just added that like modern, grimy version of like 28 days later. It's like
what they were doing in the first movie. Yes.
It's like we've it's been 28 years later. We've adapted. We've grown as a society, but we're still a little rough around the edges. Literally rough around the edges of the thing. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it's a great movie. I tell you what, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. The infected have changed a lot this time around.
Yes,
Ed, I was saying that the infected have changed a lot this time around. And I'm going to say one quick thing, and then I pass it to y'all, is that when I see the infected, I'm like, kill them all. Kill them all, kill them all, kill them all. I don't care. Kill them all. And there was a moment when they hesitated on a child, and I was like, I don't care. Kill them all.
So,
like, they're all rage. And now, and this one, they're pushing it. And it's like, well, maybe we're the monsters, and they're actually like, there's some humanity in the infected. And now they're changed. Now they're like wild animals. And it's like, in my mind, I was like, whoa, this complicates it, and I don't like it. But also, I guess that's challenging me. But also, I don't like it. I've been seeing them as infected, and I want to see it that way. But now you're adding this whole like birth sequence where like she's kind of a human, and then the baby is human.
Not. Yes,
but it's like, but in that moment of delivery, you see humanity of these infected bleed through, and that didn't make me feel good. In some weird way, I don't know. Go ahead.
I want to talk about two things because you both said something that I want to talk about, and I'll be quick with it. Because you just mentioned it. First off, I love this theme of evolution. It was something that Danny Boyle and Alex Garland talked about when they made this script was, okay, it is 28 years later. What does that mean? And I love the fact that they were like, this is not this like infection, you're dead, you're a zombie. No, this is a virus. Like imagine you get a cold, okay, today. Imagine you get a cold, but it's something that just doesn't let you go. You're still who you are, but you have this cold, this infection, this virus. And I love that they were like playing with that. And when they introduced the idea of the fact that they were like, the first time you see them, they're like in the river and they're bathing. Okay. And you can tell
that tripped me up too.
She's like she's pregnant and holding her tummy. And then later she gives birth. And it's like, what does this mean? You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, this lady was probably pregnant and then got bit or whatever.
No, I think what happened is that prime impregnated her.
See, and now that's the question, because I couldn't say that.
I think the reason why is because he was chasing her because that's his kid. Is the idea that I was getting is like, that's my baby and I'm here to get my kid and you're stealing him. That's why he kept hunting him down.
And I would say this fucking, yeah. Okay. Like maybe that's not what I thought in the moment, but in the world that they're setting up, that's incredible. The other thing I want to mention is Ed talked about pacing. And I think that pacing in this movie, like right in the middle, two quick things. The one thing that made me drop my jaw was when the kid brought his mom into the mainland and she was like, we're in the mainland. I was like, fuck. Fuck, she shouldn't be here.
That was a great wide shot too, to feel that. You're like, what the fuck are we?
Like she of her whole thing, she was like, she walked across that whole bridge and then at the end of it was like, ah, and I was like, no, we shouldn't be here. But the pacing of it, where they kind of in the middle of the movie, they meet that Swedish guy or the French guy or whoever. And then he's sweet, like, he's like, my name's Eric and here's what the rest of the world is doing. And then they have the picnic on the blanket. I feel like pacing wise, it was like, we really kind of slowed things down to say, hey, in a bubble, here is what happening in the world right now. That felt very 28 years later to me, because like if you think about 20 years later, they're in the shop and they close the gate, and the two characters explain to Jim, this is what's happening, you fuck. Like, how do you not know this? And it's kind of like a moment where they explain to themselves, but they also explain to the audience what's happening. I will say, I expected Ralph Fiennes, Ray Fiennes, to be the bad guy of the movie. That's who I thought was what was going to happen. But of this entire movie, every step of the way, they subverted those expectations. They kept being like, you don't know what's going to happen next. And I really enjoyed that as far as like a structure of a story.
Like, you think he's, from the trailers and stuff, you think he's covered in mostly blood, but it turns out to be iodine.
Which is the first time they've ever mentioned that. And it's kind of like, oh.
Also, where did he get all that iodine?
I thought about that.
You go, he's a doctor. Okay. But what I loved, and I feel like maybe not, reading the internet, like I feel like this was a very divisive movie, which is kind of like the zombie genre right now.
It's also Danny Boyle.
Very Danny Boyle, yes.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, for me, I really enjoyed the character, which is almost not how I feel about most movies. I loved the character study about things. I love that they said, like, we're not going to do a beat for beat zombie movie. And we're going to kind of elevate and evolve. That was the theme of this movie. I felt like was evolution. We are 28 years later. How do we do that? And, really, I think the thing everyone wants to talk about, and we should wrap up on this, is, my God, how big was that dong on that alpha?
Oh my God.
Like, it was so big.
Well, you bring up a funny, interesting production point, is that everything, like, obviously there's no clothes, like it's 28 years later. And so naked. All of that is prosthetics. I read somewhere on the news, like, because there's a kid on set and you like can't have just like nudity all around.
But you know what's crazy is, and I don't mean to sound like this, but like all of the boobies on the women, they were like Spanx. They were covered up. You never saw any downstairs on the women. But that man ran around. Okay.
I mean, he's an alpha.
28 inches later. Okay,
that's what I'm saying too. Is like that. Also, it makes sense for him to impregnate her as well. Like
I never thought about that. There was actually one more thing, and I'm not going to say it now, but there was one more thing that I read on the internet after the movie that I was like, oh, I did not pick up on that. That I was like, I want to see this again because I feel like they're dropping Easter eggs, but they're not really shoving them in your face.
I agree with Luis. That's what I was feeling about. Like that's why Samson. They call he kept coming.
Samson. He was named.
Yeah. That's a biblical reference, right? Like the giant.
He's the giant with the long hair. He has super strength,
right? And so it's like, and what Alfie might be David or some shit. I know it's not David and Goliath, but
they could be mixing the two.
Yeah. It's just biblical, whatever. But yeah, it seemed a little too pointed to not have the two related, maybe, or maybe there's something a bit more to that. I don't know, but I specifically, especially when he shows up in the quote unquote bone temple or whatever, that seemed like a pointed attack. So
you know what? And that kid taking that baby all the way home, I don't know how that baby didn't cry the whole way. And people were like, and then it would wake up the infected, be like, what is that noise? You know what I mean? I that's my panic every time there's a baby in a movie. It's like, what if it cries? Like in these opportunities.
Yeah. I thought that was going to happen too. Here's one thing though. It's just like, why wouldn't you kill Samson once you had him
knocked out? Stab him, cut his head off.
I thought the same thing too. I was like, he's right there. Why don't we kill? And someone brought up a good point. I was like listening to a review is that the first half of the movie or the first like third is his dad teaching him like, this is how you kill. I want you to kill this person, kill that person, kill. And then we get to the second half. And now that he's done that journey, now that he's gone the most dangerous path where he could kill everything, he takes his mom and he's like, actually, we're going to avoid all of that. And we're going to go around it. We don't want to be those people. It's survival. And even the climax of the movie isn't like, oh, Samson's here. Let's trap him and kill him. It's like, let's hide and let him whatever, And so somebody phrased it as like the first part is like to kill. And the second is like to avoid or I don't know. And I don't know what it meant, but just something about it. Like I liked that symmetry of it.
Survival looks different. You know what I mean? In an apocalypse, like you may go, this is how I need to do things. And someone else may go, no, this is how I need to do it. And it's survival of the fittest, right? Like that's the whole
respect.
Thing.
But and then Ray Fiennes over here is like, hey, we need to respect the dead, who we come from.
God, I loved his character. I loved that he was not who I thought he was going to be. And he was pretty. Can I just real quick? This is the thing that I read on the internet. This is the theory that I read, and you guys can be like, "No, Miguel, I just read it on the internet." Okay. She was having the mom, Isla, was having like hallucinations throughout her whole like journey through the mainland or whatever, where she kept referring to Spike as her dad. I read something, guys. Please, this is just something I read on the internet, where Isla's dad is actually Cillian Murphy's character from the first movie. And there's actually a moment where she's like hallucinating right before you see that like emaciated zombie come in out of frame. You know what I mean? And that scared the shit out of me. Where apparently like someone like grabs her and kind of like holds her. And someone was like, I know Cillian Murphy's hands from anywhere. They were like, I know who that motherfucker is. That's Cillian Murphy. And like, that's the whole journey of the story that they're telling. And over these 3 movies is like Spike through the generations of his family. And that like he's going to be Spike's granddad. We're going to see him in the second movie for a bit, and the third movie is going to be his story, Cillian Murphy's,
which would explain the cancer a little bit.
How
tie that in? Because isn't Cillian recovering from like brain surgery? Whenever
that's from and as far as the story in the first movie is, he's like. It's like a traumatic injury he receives. He's like hit off of his bike or whatever. But potentially
this is
that
how
could be
unfamiliar I am with the actual.
But that could be what they're saying is like that might have like been the whole domino effect of what happened. So that was a theory I read, and it was something that like I had a friend be like, "Do you want to go see this movie?" And I was like, "I would love to see it again," because I'm like, I want to pick up on all these things that I quote unquote missed.
Okay, well, real quick before we have to dash off.
Who's dashing off? We could be here for 2 more hours. Like, go ahead.
The ending, the Teletubby / Power Ranger, however you want to phrase it. Jack O'Connell showing up. What a year he's having.
Yeah.
But man, why did I lit up? Like, I lit up so much when he came on. I was just like, all right, buckle up. I'm ready for whatever he's about to bring to this whole.
Now you want to watch that second one, huh?
Yeah, I fucking do. Like, how wild of an ending is that?
Tonally, just like, where are we? You know?
I was like what?
But you know what?
How do you get those colors so crisp in the post-apocalypse?
I think it would have helped. I mean, I understand why they did it right away because they want audiences to leave. But in this instance, like having like a little bit of a break, or maybe they wanted shock, you know, like because that's how Danny Boyle cuts everything. It's like very sporadic and erratic. So the shift and change of tone makes sense. But for some people, I guess if you have like a little bit of the credits and then that's like an after credit scene, that might have given people enough space to be like, okay, we're shifting a tone. But
yeah,
I guess I've talked myself into liking it.
What did it for me was the entire movie. I was like, zombie movie, 28 years later. The whole world, yeah, it's scary, but I'm like, I'm keeping up, whatever. It wasn't until they played the music from the franchise,
yes, at the end,
scene, that all of a sudden I was like, whoa, what's happening right now? And then it was like, okay, obviously they set up the beginning, they're tying it in that moment, but that was the moment where the credits rolled, and I walked out of the theater, and I was like, I kind of need a minute. Like, it wasn't just the shock value of the Power Ranger Teletubby visuals that we were saying. It was just that they were like, we are honing into this vibe now. Like, we were giving you something that you didn't feel before, and now we are locking in. Like, this is the franchise. And I was like, holy shit, this is like
that first portion of the movie is the most quote unquote conventional thing out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Beyond that, it's just kind of like a fucking, I don't know where we're going. It's like Alice in Wonderland. Like, anything could happen. These characters that they're coming across are wacky. These incidents that are happening are wacky. Like from the birth to the Swedish or Swiss soldier to the
fact that the world has moved on. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
That was wild to me.
It's like I said, these different factions that we're starting to discover, you know.
Yeah. From
an outsider's perspective, you could see that island as being cult-like in a sense, you know. Mm-hmm. You got these guys walking around, their main focus is archery, and they're cut off from the rest of the world. I mean, by necessity, obviously, but also, you know, that comes with its own problems too. You got these people who are isolated. Spike, I'm sorry. He hadn't, like, the world seemed so big just outside of that island. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about England. It's a small country, you know. But like
I know.
They get out there. So it's very just not what I had any expectation of going into this movie.
I would say
so credit there.
That this is kind of a random thought, but outside of the zombie genre, a movie you could watch these two movies back to back is you should also watch Shyamalan's The Village. Like, there were very similar themes. I know it's kind of silly, but there are very similar themes in that movie. And it might not be like the best Shyamalan movie, but there were moments in this movie that I was like, oh man, I've felt this before.
It's that kind of structure though.
Structure, like, yes. Yeah. Like, we're going a certain direction until we're not, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
totally.
I really enjoyed this. The internet kind of was split on this. A lot of people hated this movie. And I think it wasn't just the ending, but I think in general, like, people wanted like a zombie movie, and they were like, no, this is like a character drama, you know?
You get the zombie drama.
There are scary moments. There were moments where I was like, oh fuck.
When the alpha's chasing them on the bridge. Yeah.
Come on. I was like, this is it. And I will say there were a couple moments, I didn't say this earlier, there were a couple of CGI moments, like the sheep or the deer or whatever, when they were running, I was like, this doesn't feel real. But I was also like, this is like $8 million. No, it's not $8 million. But you know what I'm saying? Like there was like
you got to give it like I'll give you some slack.
I'll give you this. Yeah. Especially with like when they were running down the pier, I was like, okay, this is not 100%.
But I'll give you.
But I am here because the fact that it's like if you could just close your eyes for a minute and be like, oh fuck, that thing is right behind me.
Yeah,
you know, like
I
that's
think it was
terrifying.
exactly. I think they counter it with the tension and the development. Like that time is running out, or rather, like they've still got to wade through the water. They can't just flat out run.
It's not running. Yeah.
And it's a great distance and all of that. Yeah. I think that's how, if anything, that's how this movie works in such a way. And I mean, like I said, there were some moments where it challenges you beyond disbelief of some scenes. Like, I mean, that kid comes back from that first outing kind of scared. He's like, yeah, that was really scary. And I don't think I achieved what my dad is claiming I achieved. But then the next minute, he's ready to go back out there.
You know what, though? I would watch a TV show of that. Like, imagine halfway through the season, he came back, and then there was like a whole nother 2 or 3 episodes where he had to kind of like grapple with it and then decide to go back out again.
Yeah.
Like, it was a pacing thing, but only because they were like, bitch, this is the movie. We got to hurry up, you know?
Yeah.
That was 28 years later. Let us know what you thought about it down in the comments below. Funny enough, the next movie, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, comes out in 28 weeks. So it's coming out in 28 weeks. January 16th, 2026. Wow. That movie will be released. So pretty soon, I feel like it's going to come out streaming. You'll watch it, and then you'll watch this ready to go. But hey guys, that's the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Like, subscribe, all that business. Guys, what an episode, right? My name has been Luis Gonzalez, and with me's been
Miguel Sanchez
and Deadpool.
And until next time, later, Gators.
Gabagoo.